Chapter 1. Growing and Studying in Difficult Times. John Owen's father was a Puritan pastor. He loved God and worked hard for Christ's church, teaching his children to do the same. Young John probably heard his father talk a lot about the importance of worshipping God, just as the Bible teaches us to do. He also heard that many Puritans were leaving the country to go to lands where they could worship freely, some to Germany, some to Holland, and some to the New World, America. John was very smart. When he was 12, he entered college with one of his brothers, who was 4 years older than John. His studies were paid for by a rich uncle, who encouraged him to make a good career in the Church of England. John studied hard, but he also found time for other activities like playing the flute and performing the javelin toss and the long jump. All this kept him so busy he had only 4 hours of sleep each night. Many years later, he said that he was sorry to have sacrificed his sleep because he had damaged his health. While John was in college, many changes were troubling England. Some decisions made by the king, Charles I, caused his group of councillors, called Parliament, to become very angry. They didn't like that the king had demanded new taxes and had started a losing war against Scotland without talking to them first, as he had agreed to do. On the other hand, the king didn't always want to talk to the Parliament because he thought that they wanted to have too much power. The Puritans were also worried because the king had become very strict about the rules of worship, punishing hard those who refused to conform to the Book of Common Prayer. Someone who inspired and supported the king in his restriction of the Puritans was Archbishop William Laud, the highest religious authority in England, who disagreed with them even on the most important matters of salvation. Soon after his graduation, Owen had to face a difficult decision. If he wanted to continue his well-respected career in the university and Church of England, he would have to accept many things he considered very wrong. Archbishop Laud had a great influence at Oxford and was not only enforcing his rules of worship, but also limiting what could be taught. Choosing to follow his convictions, Owen left the university and worked as a chaplain and tutor at the homes of some noblemen in the area. They were temporary jobs, which gave him time to think and study. By 1642, the disagreements between King Charles and the Parliament had become so strong that the two declared war on each other. We call this the English Civil War, or English Revolution. A civil war is a war that is fought between people in the same country. Civil wars are usually worse than other types of war because the people are not united against an enemy, but are divided against each other. Owen thought that the Parliament was right, but the nobleman who had hired him at that time supported the king. Soon Owen decided to move to London, where he had relatives. At this point, even his uncle, a supporter of the king, stopped sending him money. Owen was discouraged. Not only was he poor and without a job, but he also had many questions about his faith. He wondered if God really loved him, and if he was really one of God's children. One day he traveled with a friend to another town to hear a sermon by a famous minister. For some reason, the preacher did not show up and someone else took his place. Owen was disappointed. His friend wanted to leave, but Owen was too tired, so they stayed. The new preacher announced the title of the sermon, "Why Are You Fearful, O You of Little Faith?" Owen listened attentively as the Holy Spirit calmed all his fears through the preacher's words. He knew that through the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus, God had really adopted him as his son.